So hello everyone and welcome to this Spanish session around Wiki Loves Living Heritage. And we have prepared the slides in Spanish and I will be going through them in English, and by the time you see this it will be subtitled. So let's jump right into it. So Wiki Loves Living Heritage is a year-long campaign. It is not a Wiki Loves photography competition. It is something that can be more like anything that the local communities want to do together with the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage coordinators. But let's see what, first of all, what intangible cultural heritage is. So, intangible cultural heritage is a term coined by UNESCO. It has been around since the 2003 convention. And this year, as it happens, is the 20th anniversary of the convention. And therefore, this year marks a celebration in the history of this convention. There are already 180 countries in the convention. And what intangible heritage is, it's living heritage. It's not about buildings, but about people and activities. So here's a list of domains, how UNESCO categorizes this living heritage. It's about, I'll just briefly mention them: oral traditions, performing arts, social practices, knowledge and practices concerning nature and the universe, and traditional craftsmanship. So how is this carried out by UNESCO then? In each of the country, these intangible cultural heritage focal points, which are usually governmental organizations or non-governmental organizations, they prepare inventories in each of the country. And from these inventories each year, some of them are inscribed in the UNESCO lists. And there are 3 lists. The most well-known is the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And then in addition to that, some of these elements on that list are also inscribed on this list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding, so endangered living heritage. And the third category is a register of good safeguarding practices of how to work in a great way, preserving and safeguarding these practices. But in the scope of this project, we don't have to be limited to these, either those that are inventoried on a local level or those that are inscribed by UNESCO. And the idea is that anything that we consider cultural heritage carried out by people in their environment, making a togetherness maybe based on their activities together, anything like that can be included in this project. And there we'll just talk about, later in detail, how to do it in practice, how to include it in these listings of this project. So, but maybe about the principles a little. So the concept of living heritage, the word living heritage, is important for the ICH being the intangible cultural heritage, these coordinators and UNESCO to promote the usage of this term. And by working together with all the countries, all the locations, and all the giving the the opportunity for them to come up with the best possible activities to create in each of the locations. We are promoting plurality in this participation. We are not proposing one way to work. We are inviting different ways of working. And yet, even though this is not a photography competition, the documentation is at the heart of this project. We are dealing with the Wikimedia platforms where we wish to have more representation of these different cultures. But by doing so, we have to think about the ethics of sharing. Who are we documenting? Who is documenting? And how is consent conveyed through the process, and how is it compatible with these open practices? So these are difficult questions. We don't have the right answers, but we can discuss them, and therefore there will be an event, a webinar focusing on ethical sharing. And based on this webinar, we hope that there are some practices, some best practices that we can promote for the Wikimedia community to continue using after this project. So, and also some other questions. Wiki Loves Living Heritage is not replacing existing contests because it's quite different in nature. There may be even some local contests in some places if that is the method a local community wishes to work with. It's also a global project, but having a lot of local expressions of it. And these new areas, such as the ethical documentation issues and the data that we now put online about these inventories and lists, they are new approaches to this kind of documentation. And eventually it's what we decided to be, what we make it all together. And so to go through what things are happening in the project. So living heritage data is where we start. So data about the heritage elements, as they are called elements, will be added to Wikidata, but respecting the original community's will. It may be that they don't want to share them. It may be that they don't want to share them now, or it may be that it takes a lot of time to come to terms like what to share, when to share. Therefore, we will proceed at the pace and scope of the communities themselves, their wish. And this is a picture of a spreadsheet where data from this data about these national inventories is collected. So a lot of this data is it's a detective work still. So it's not going to be. It's not likely that we are going to have a lot of countries, or like not at all the majority of countries in this year. But it's a start, and I hope it will be an ongoing process. That was how the data looks in a spreadsheet, and then we get these beautiful pages that we can use in many ways. Each of these can be links to pages that we can create about them. And the buttons will lead to these upload campaigns with all the data that these Wikidata items have about these heritage elements. And more combinations of data and activities can be created on the pages, because there are so many connections and ways of using this data on the Wikimedia platforms. So what else? So in addition to this, this data and the pages, then all these local activities will be done in collaboration between the affiliates and the focal points. them coming together and finding the best ways of working, and finding probably something that they are already working with, so that because this comes at a very late stage, that there is something that is happening already and they can together build on. And when the global coordination can do global promotion together with the partners, and using all the possible channels, as well as, of course, these pages on Meta, which is probably not the best known site in the world for following online content, but we'll make it that way. And then the webinar is mentioned here as well. And so here's a timeline of the year. The work on the data has started, and the work on the website has started. We can call it the Meta website. And then in March, on the 17th of March, there will be the launch together with the focal points, and then the webinar on the ethical sharing in April. And then in April, all these activities, these campaign activities, these collaborations, local collaborations start. And these the year ends in celebrations in December. And what to do next? You can find the website on Meta following that link. And then the first thing to do is to participate in the launch event. This is now just to save the date notification here. There is no page for it yet. And then you can also browse the site for different ways of being involved, especially the page join. And then there is an email address and a Telegram group, and then an address for keeping an eye on the upcoming meetings. That there are weekly meetings around different issues for participation. And there are the different organizations who are working on this. And I will thank you for watching this, and we will continue and recording some questions. Hope that you will be joining.